Hello and welcome to the King's Forum podcast show. I have a very special guest back on our show, Charlotte. Hi, Charlotte.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
I'm good. Nice to see you back on. It's been a minute, hasn't it?
I know. Thank you for having me back.
Nah,
It's
always
always
a pleasure. Right, you're gonna talk about generalized anxiety disorder, and it's something that you've had to deal with for a very long time. And I know you did a recent video on IGTV, which was really great, and thanks for sharing that. So, to any viewers, please go and check that out, as well as watching this video after we're done and sharing it. It'd be much appreciated. So, talk to me, Charlotte. What is generalized anxiety disorder?
okay. So GAD, I call it GAD, but it stands for Generalized Anxiety Disorder. Is a condition where you feel anxious most of the time, as opposed to, you might be nervous or anxious for one moment. Whereas with GAD, it's literally, it could be daily, and you have that constant worry, even difficulty concentrating, especially when there is so much going on in your mind, and you have that sense of dread as well. It's very kind of complex. I mean, everybody is slightly different with GAD. Some people it affects more, some people it affects less. But it is mainly excessive worrying about everything from family life, work, health. So there are different areas, really.
So it's like a prolonged state of anxiety.
Absolutely, and a very prolonged one as well.
Yeah, no, because I've suffered with anxiety and still do on the occasion. So I was kind of connecting with that, like, what is the difference type thing. So yeah, definitely. So when were you diagnosed for GAD?
I was diagnosed in 2014. I don't know if it was happening before. I know that I have been a bit of a worrier most of my life. But then as I started getting older, it started to change, and I started worrying about everything and anything, and I just couldn't understand why. And then when I saw the epilepsy consultant, he said, you have generalized anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
So I'm dumbstruck, like, what's that? Is it just a bit of anxiety? And then he explained to me what it was, which is what I've already told you. So 2014. Wow. And still going now.
What impact has GAD had on your day-to-day life?
When I have periods of time where I'm in that anxious state of mind, I can become very drained. I worry about what people might think of me.
Yeah.
And it takes up my whole day to the point where this, for example, at this present moment, I'm going through a bit of a stage of excessive anxiety right now. So, for example, last week, I was so overwhelmed with emotion and thoughts that I actually spent most of the day in bed. 1 minute I was okay, next minute I'm just crying, then I'm okay, then I'm crying, and then I'm thinking, and then I'm panicking, and I had like 3-4 anxiety attacks in that whole day. And it's quite a scary place to be in your mind. When you're going through that. You feel like you're losing your mind, and you're not. It's just that the logical part of your mind is just switched off, and you're just caught up with the emotions and the thoughts, and I said the over worrying and overthinking, and you're just in complete overdrive. You certainly activated the nervous system, put it that way. So yeah, and sometimes I don't even want to talk to people because I get that scared that they won't understand, or they may think that I'm exaggerating, and it's not the case. A lot of people used to think that if somebody was anxious and they were very heightened, they'd be like, oh, you're just exaggerating. It's not as bad as that. But actually, you're not exaggerating, and it does feel very, very intense. And that's where there can be a bit of an issue, so to speak, or confusion. That's the right word I'm looking for, because they don't understand that, okay, what I'm thinking and feeling is so intense. They just look at it as like, oh, you're just being a drama queen. And it's not that at all. It's really not.
I hear that. Do you feel a loss of control when you're going through one of your spells?
Yeah, I do. When I had, especially last week, I just felt like I was losing control of everything. I didn't know what to do. In the end, I gave up worrying about worrying and thinking. I was so tired. I just felt like I wasn't capable of anything. And it was like, what's the point? What is the actual point? I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't, do this anymore. That's the state that you can get to. And then there's just no control, and you think, okay, well, I was having my routine. I haven't got that right now. I'd be speaking to my friends. I can't even do that. It just feels like it's just a can of worms, and a wave has just rushed you, and it's just literally taken over, and you're just trying to fight to grab some control back, but you don't know what you're trying to grab at that time.
Yeah, I hear that. So what are some of the physical symptoms of GAD?
In my case, obviously with anxiety, the flight, fight, survival mode kicks in, and obviously that activates the nervous system. So with me, in my case, sometimes I will shut off from people because of the fear that I will get judged. I get headaches, fatigue, sometimes tightness of the chest, but that's only more so if I have an anxiety attack. I can dissociate. As you know, I have dissociative seizures. So you could pass out, you could faint, because the mind just said, right, that's it, enough's enough. The symptoms are not being managed. I'm going to switch you off, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely.
I could get sensations in my hands, like shaking uncontrollably in my body. I can feel the shaking even today. And we've done quite a few podcasts together, but because I'm in a different state of mind at this present moment, it's just like I can feel the trembling inside. You can lose your appetite, you don't sleep, and you can even have a full bladder. So you keep, your bladder's just constantly full all the time, which is actually quite frustrating. All of the symptoms are, and you just feel completely drained. It's just, and the mood as well. Our mood can change. So you could say, "Oh, are you okay?" And usually I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm all right," or "Nope, I don't want to talk. I'm not in the mood. Leave me alone." You won't understand. It's that kind of irrational behavior. And somebody that doesn't understand someone that has that condition, they could think, oh, she's just being really moody today. And actually, no, what I really want is for somebody to understand what I'm thinking and feeling and pull it out of me. So then all them symptoms just relax, and the thoughts can just relax. So then I can really kind of express myself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not able to do that because they don't understand what I'm thinking or feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And it's about spreading awareness, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's not a lot of awareness about generalized anxiety disorder. And it's important that people are made aware of it, so then they can help somebody that does suffer with it and not judge them all the time.
What are some of the triggers?
Of what causes GAD?
Yeah, what are some of your triggers that will set you off? And
you know what? It depends really. From what my understanding is of GAD, is that if you have a family history of anxiety,
All
you're
right.
more prone to having it. Yes. You're 5 times more likely to get that. Stressful situations, which could be recent or long-standing situations that are stressful, that can trigger it. I feel like with also trauma
Yeah.
can trigger you. I think with me, for example, mine is more based around health, and I think that is because of the fact that in my younger years, I was I
So,
was around a lot of stressful situations,
okay.
and um, and I went through a phase of that. My coping mechanism was to put everything in a Pandora's box.
Yeah.
So then, when I'd be getting on with my life, if there was a similar situation, I would have this overwhelming anxiety. And I couldn't understand. I'm thinking, why? But it's actually, with me, I think it's more unhealed trauma. So even when you work on that old trauma and you are actually now in a better place, even that alone can be fearful because you're not used to it. So then you think, okay, well, I know I can do this, I know I can do that. Life is great, but what if? That's it. All it takes is, but what if? You know, I don't do well. What if I can't succeed? What are people going to think? And next thing you know, everything's just gone out the window.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people fear change. I
Yeah.
mean, in general. So, for example, you could be trying to do something new with your life that is out of your comfort zone, and you could be a bit anxious. You're not sure. You're trying to learn along the way. Whereas somebody with generalized anxiety disorder, we're thinking, is it going to work? How is it going to work? What do I do to make it work? And if it don't, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to feel useless. All them thoughts just come out of nowhere. It's just excessive.
Yeah.
And we feel like we have to kind of sometimes plan everything, because it's like, if we plan everything or know everything, then we'll be okay. But the reality is that you don't know everything. You're not going to know what's around the corner. And it's about trying to draw yourself back in and ground yourself. So I think, yeah, with me, I think it was that I did experience some stressful situations and trauma. So yeah, and I've been working on that for a good while now, and I am in a better place. I think this is the first episode of anxiousness that I've been in quite a while. I think the last time I was like this was 2 years ago.
All right. That's a
Yeah. However, this has been ongoing for about 6 months now.
wow. It's a long
And
time.
it's just, and yeah, and then last week it was at the peak. It was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. I'm tired of even entertaining it. I don't want to entertain it. I just want to feel calm and grounded, and that switch of the anxiety is just turned off, and my nervous system is relaxed, and my body and my mind is listening to each other and working together. That's how it's been. It can last from days to weeks to months, and even with the months, it's like you'll have a period of time where you're calm, and then the next thing you know, you wake up and it's like it's right there, so to speak, in your mind, and you think, oh my God, I've got to do this, I've got to, and that was me last week. And I was actually very, very, very upset. And wanting to reach out to people, but I was too scared. And it's actually mentally and emotionally crippling and draining. It really is. And you question yourself, you doubt yourself.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's definitely overwhelming. And then when you do finally get to breathe and you're a lot calmer, you then start crying again because you feel relieved.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does make sense. Yeah.
Like now I can feel myself getting all emotional. And I'm not afraid to show that vulnerable side to me. Because this is the reality.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just horrid. It's just horrid. It's like you feel like you're within a prison, and you're not. But that's
mind. Yeah.
So yeah, sorry.
No, it's all right. It just came to me because I remember when I was going through my states of anxiety, it did feel like a prison of the mind. Like you just want to escape. You feel trapped.
Yeah.
In this state that's such an uncomfortable and horrible feeling. So yeah, I can understand the tears from that when you feel like you've got a little relief of it, of those emotions that you get emotional. So no,
Yeah.
I totally understand it.
It's a very bad state, isn't it, at the time? As you would know.
Yeah. So how is your GAD treated? Do you take medications or anything? Or?
In the past, I have had CBT, psychotherapy. When I had my last attack of this in 2019, I actually went on an antidepressant for 6 months. And I felt better for it. And then I took myself off of it after 6 months. And then I was okay for a while, and then it slowly started to creep back in. And then last year it just started to really creep in. And I think what hasn't helped either is lockdown.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're not stimulating the mind out and about as you would usually be. So you feel trapped in your own home, and you feel even more trapped when you're having an anxious moment.
No, I could totally understand that.
However, I've been researching, and there's this new technique that I've been made aware of, which is where, from my understanding, a lot of therapy they do it from the top down.
Okay.
So they talk, your adult logical mind. Whereas with this technique, you start from the bottom down. So it's all about everything somatically. You're learning about the body's responses, and then you do these techniques, and also so the thought that you have at that time, you'll sit with that thought, and then you'll do these techniques, and then you'll have to ask yourself how you feel now, and then you do it again until you feel really grounded. And I done that actually on a live with a man called Shane Harron. He's an anxiety specialist, and actually I found him on Instagram. So when I done that with him a few weeks ago, he just asked me one word of what I was thinking at that time, and I told him, I just don't feel great about myself. And then he talked me through, out of 1 to 10, how am I feeling? Where do I think that thought has stemmed from? And then these techniques, and they were great. And afterwards, I actually felt like a happy young girl. You know, it was like the inner child in me was just so grounded. And I explained that to him. Is this normal? And he said, yes, it is, because everything is relaxed. Your mind, your body, they're working together. So you will feel warm, which I did because I had all hot flushes. And I felt calm, and I just felt so happy. So last week just gone, I decided to sign up to a course. One that I've chosen is called the Anxiety Stopper. So you learn how to switch it off. And the great thing is as well is that you can watch the videos. So you actually can go over and over, you know, the videos if you've missed out on something, to, you know, to help you. And as he, you know, strongly suggested, that when you're doing these techniques, do them also on days where you're not feeling anxious, because you're then building up muscle memory. You see, so then when you do find yourself, you know, your anxiety rising, because you're doing these techniques regularly, it shouldn't get to the red zone. It should just be just get into the green zone. And because the red zone is where you completely just dissociate, you know. So and the amber zone is where all the Russian thoughts are. So so that, yeah, I'm trying that out, and so far I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic about it. So
no, it sounds really good. Sounds really logical, the process.
Yeah, because one thing I know about with anxiety is that dissociative seizures, they are caused by trauma, anxiety, stressful situations. And so it makes me understand more why, if I did have a non-epileptic fit, it was because of the fact of the anxiety getting to a point where the body was, you know, my body was just kind of out of control, so to speak. My mind was out of control, and it was just like, okay, the nervous system just shut down, so to speak, because if my body and my mind can't take it. Whereas with this kind of treatment, it's more so about listening to the body's response, as well as the thoughts. So you're healing yourself internally and managing what you're thinking and feeling at that time, whether it's recent, whether it's in the past.
Yeah, I love that. I do love that. So
good. Check it.
Yeah, I will. Any advice for people struggling with GAD or anxiety in general?
I definitely think breathing techniques is good. If you're just going to try anything, breathing techniques is good. I also believe that you, as hard as it is, you have to remind yourself that it is only just temporary.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't, it may not feel like it's temporary, but when you hear the word temporary, a lot of people think, okay, a couple of days or a week. No, there's no time on, you know, how temporary something is, but it is temporary. And I think you have to learn to be kind to yourself, and listen to your body as well. You definitely have to. And like, because people with GAD can experience it differently. It would be wrong for me to really kind of give a lot of advice, because I don't know how their thought pattern is and how they're managing it. But I definitely believe, trying to keep your routine is very important. And I mean, I find meditation, it is good. It does calm me, and breathing, just deep breathing, exhaling, inhaling is nice. But I think a routine is still good, because the routine that I have last week just went out the window. I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to clean. I didn't even want to get out of bed. You know, that is how low I felt. I just wanted to just have the cover all over me and just hide there and hope that it would just go away. But the last couple of days, I've pushed myself back into the routine, and slowly but surely, I feel like I'm getting there. And I know what has triggered me for this to have, for me to be in this anxious state. So after that temporary 6 months, I now know what has triggered me. So I'm now working on that. But also, as much as anxiety can be horrible, it's actually sometimes a good thing as well to have. But when you're having it to this state, it's not healthy at all. Like if you go for a job interview, Mike, you know, and you're nervous, you're a bit anxious. That's a good feel, you know, you're unsure. But if you've got 1,001 thoughts in your mind at the same time, that's now no longer healthy. So I think you have to trust your body, you have to trust yourself, and you have to remind yourself that it is temporary and it can be managed. It actually can. And I think the harder we are on ourselves, the longer it may take.
Definitely.
So I think, the key things I would say is to breathe. If try positive things that's going to help you, routine, meditation, and even the course that I've signed up to with this guy. Even give that a try. I mean, as I said, I've done one session and I felt so much more calm. But I know there's still a few waves right now. It will still take a little while, but you know, in a couple of weeks, I'm pretty sure that I'll be saying to you, "Hey, I feel so much more better now," and that temporary feeling is gone.
I like that. I like that. You know, and it's about being self-aware and realizing that, you know, we may need additional support to get through certain things in our lives. And it's when you find something that you feel is going to work and is right for you, it's going with that, and don't be fearful of it. It's worth a try because you never know. You know, it might be just what you need.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, when you're in, it is hard to kind of focus on the positive things when you're in that state of mind. It's extremely hard because you are just completely deflated. But it is about just trying. You have to try, and even if there is just one person that will understand you and not judge you, talk to them. Just talk to that person, and if that person is there for you, then they will happily listen and do their best to try and support you, because sometimes you do need support with that. And as I said, I take a medication, an anxiety tablet, but that's also an anti-epileptic tablet as well. So it's only a tiny little amount. But I personally don't want to go back on an antidepressant. That is only because I like to try and deal with things naturally.
Oh, definitely.
Because I do believe where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm all for that. And not relying on medications to get you through, you know, finding coping mechanisms yourself and ways of dealing with what you're going through yourself. So now I'm totally with you. Definitely. I agree. What social platforms are you on, Charlotte?
Sorry about that.
No?
You can catch me on Facebook, Charlotte Rose. You can also catch me on Instagram, Charlotte Nero 60. You will see daily updates of this program that I'm on and how I'm thinking and feeling. So check that out as well. So, but yeah, they're the main places that you can catch me for now.
That's great, Charlotte.
And your YouTube channel, of course.
Yeah.
The King's Forum on YouTube.
Yeah, please like and subscribe and share the video. Charlotte, thank you very much for your time as always. It was a pleasure. Thank you for spreading awareness and being so open and honest. You're welcome. Thank you very much. See you later, Charlotte.
Take care. Bye.